nation under fraud. Completely visible, with lying and spying for all. The Kate Daly Show starts now.
Thank you, Governor. And just to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary protected status.
Well, Margaret, but
thank you, Senator. We have so much to get to.
Margaret, I think it's important because
we're going to turn out of the economy. Thank
Margaret,
you.
The rules were that you guys weren't going to fact check, and since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. So there's an application called the CBP One app where you can go on as an illegal migrant, apply for asylum or apply for parole, and be granted legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wand. That is not a person coming in, applying for a green card and waiting for 10 years. That is the facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by our own
Thank you, Senator, for describing the legal process. We have so much to get to, Senator.
Those laws have been on the books since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The CBP One app has not been on the books since 1990. It's something that Kamala Harris created, Margaret.
Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut. You said you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protests in the spring of 1989. But Minnesota Public Radio and other media outlets are reporting that you actually didn't travel to Asia until August of that year. Can you explain that discrepancy? Yeah,
well, and to the folks out there who didn't get at the top of this, look, I
did not have sexual relations with that woman.
We'll just leave it a mystery.
Oh my gosh. It's so true. Okay. That sort of told you a little bit about what happened last night at the debate. And, asking Walz, I said this in the first hour too, asking Walz, gee, was it a discrepancy? No, he lied. He lied about being there. It wasn't a mistake. He lied. Okay. And they can't say that word. They just can't say it. And then all Walz did was say, I'm a knucklehead. And I'm committed. So there you go. Just forget about that. All right. I mean, it's ridiculous. And people have just had enough. I'm sure of it. J.D. Vance handled himself very well, actually, and did a really good job. So there's a piece of good news for you. You guys know I've done pieces on his background and everything else, but for the debate, I'm telling you, he was king of the debate world last night, and he did a good job in even little Margaret. Margaret was like like they call Karen, Little Margaret tried to just bat her eyes at Walz, which I can't understand because I actually think he's more or less in the closet. But let me just say that she was just emoting this love for him, and then JD cutting off his mic any moment she could. So anyway, what was your take, Melissa Smith? Welcome.
Hi.
I didn't watch.
Oh. Well, you know what? I can understand why. It's the most inconsequential position, really, unless you're going to step up to be the president. But it's
no. It's not even that.
What?
I'm just kind of put myself on a diet of like crazy.
Okay.
Do you know? I don't need to know. I've caught enough clips from like I watched the highlight reel from YouTube, and that's enough. I mean, I already knew that Walz was an idiot. I don't need to watch more of it. It just makes me upset. And then people in my house throw things at the TV, and I don't want to have to buy a new one.
I'm with you. Well, we want some good news, and I know you have some. So I'm actually really excited to hear from you on this because you posted something about this yesterday, and I want people to know kind of the story about this and what's going on with the Hurricane Helene and all of the damage and all of the people that are having to deal with horrific circumstances.
Well, I'm going to preface all of this by saying that there is nothing more inspirational and more powerful than watching a really challenging situation and then watching the people who rise to that occasion.
Yeah.
And I have watched that. I'm in the East. I'm not in the West. I'm not on the East Coast, but we like to think of ourselves here in the Midwest as like salt of the earth people.
Sure.
And I have been absolutely amazed at the people who have stepped forward to help in any way. The town next to mine, they're a group of pilot private pilots, these are guys that own their own planes, announced, if you bring stuff to the airport, we're going to fly it in.
Wow.
And so they've flown several flights of stuff. We heard from a whitewater rafting organization that they have water rescue people, they have life jackets, they have people who are trained to do water rescue, and they have the boats to go with it. We're going. And these are people volunteering their time, their equipment, their all their stuff. There's a group of lumber people from southern Indiana who stepped up and said, we've got chainsaws and we've got people that know how to use them. Where do we go?
That makes my
people
heart
have
happy.
just been like on the heartbeat. We're going.
You know
Here
what?
we go.
We got good people in America. We really do. We got good people. Don't let the government and the media tell you otherwise. We have good people.
Well, I want to share this little tidbit too.
Okay.
So there, and then I'll share this with you, and then we'll do some backstory.
Okay.
The Mountain Mule Packer Ranch, and we'll talk more about them. The Cajun Navy 2016, that's the name of the group, and the World Central Kitchen have done more in Western North Carolina, I guess it is, or South Carolina, than the government has done. Now, when I say government, there are a pile of people who work for municipalities, firemen, local police and first responders, all those kind of people. Those people have gone the extra mile too. I'm not saying that, all government officials are idiots here, but people who are in the region are doing everything they can, but FEMA has not shown up or barely shown up.
Right.
I guess Joe Biden was sitting on the beach making a few phone calls. Nobody knows who he's calling. Kamala is going to roll into Georgia. She was supposed to arrive today sometime.
Oh, to do what? What is she possibly going to do? She's just a moron. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, yeah. People have talked about how incredibly slow the big outreach people have been. The big donors. Without naming any names, we all know who is out there advertising that they are the greatest at doing disaster relief, and they've been slow to organize, which is what all the people in the prepper community have said forever. It takes those people 72 hours at minimum to get the wheels rolling and people in place and trucks on the road.
Yeah.
But people that own feed mills have donated tons and tons of animal feed for livestock that have been moved out of the area. And, oh my gosh, incredible.
Yeah.
So let's go back. And one of the questions that I had was, why was there no warning? How did this end up in this kind of a situation? And here's what I think everybody needs to understand about what has happened there. We didn't hear much about it, but they had this whole zone, the whole Appalachian Piedmont area had between 7 and 11 inches of rain the week preceding the hurricane. So this is mountainous region.
Sure.
And the soils were already saturated before the hurricane was even on shore. This was also the largest hurricane that has ever hit the panhandle of Florida. It raced across Florida. It raced across Georgia. And when it hit the Appalachian, they call it the Appalachian Escarpment, where the mountains actually begin to really pick up, that stops weather systems. And I learned this way back in my college days, when all that moist air has to rise up over the top of mountains, and it cools and it drops rain. So some of those places that had already had 7 to 10 inches of rain or so, that was followed with anywhere between 20 and 30 inches more of rain from the hurricane. So
a lot of rain. Yeah, a lot.
That's a lot of rain. The Nolichucky River Dam it crested at 22 feet, and the dam itself was putting 1.2 million gallons of water per second over the dam.
Right.
By comparison, Niagara Falls puts over 700,000 gallons per second.
Wow.
So, this is not, and I guess now today they're saying that the dam has been injured, but it held. And that was very important.
There's a miracle.
All the people there.
There's a miracle from God.
There's a miracle.
There's lots of miracles. And I know people have lost their lives and it's been horrific and they're still dealing with horrific right now. Is the power back on now? Or is it still? It
is not.
Yeah.
I have a good friend who lives near there. She's not in the zone that's really been badly damaged. They lost power, I believe, on Friday, and they told them that they would probably not be getting power back until maybe Friday of this week. But the kids are out of school for a while.
If any of you have been out of power for even a few hours, you know how hard it is. It's hard because your whole life kind of depends on power. I mean, you'd like to make dinner, you'd like to have lights on, you'd like to have all of these things, and you can't charge anything, and it's horrible. Can you even imagine all these days? I can't. It's hard.
Well, here's a piece of good news.
Okay.
Lowe's and Home Depot have teamed up together and provided millions of dollars in donation and funds.
Okay.
As well as they're selling all kinds of generators, and they have promised, Lowe's has made a promise that they will sell them at cost.
Okay. Let me take a quick call. Hold on just a moment. There we go. You have 30 seconds, caller. Caller, you've got 30 seconds. Okay. They got shy. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Okay.
So like I said, my friend is not even in the area. They've got damage from high wind and hurricane, but people are back at work in her area. People are, different parts of the city have power. It just depends on where you are.
Right.
But they're running on generator power, and she's cooking on her grandmother's cast iron on their backyard grill.
Wow.
But things are scarce. Propane is hard to get.
Yeah.
So,
death and everything else, it's been really, really tough circumstances for a lot of folks. Hopefully a lot of folks are getting their feet under them, but man, we'll be right back. More with Melissa. Don't go anywhere. Melissa Smith on tap today. It's a Wednesday. We'll be right back on the Kate Daly Show.
Hey,